Great story, great guy, great player. I think that we don't, and maybe we'll need some time to understand that Alex Smith was one of the better quarterbacks of his era. He had some incredible seasons. He had some incredible postseason performances. Never got to the top of the mountain. Never was the best quarterback in the game. Never was one of the best 10, maybe one of the best 5. At times he was in that fringe, but we always kind of forgot him. And then he had the serious injury, and he'll always be known not just for the injury, but for coming back from it and playing last year and giving Aaron Donald a ride with the full weight of Donald on his back, testing out that surgically repaired leg with all the infections and the procedures, and could have died. Not could have just lost his leg, could have died. So an amazing run, and I thought he'd end up with someone this year, Myles. And like so many other great quarterbacks who've achieved at a high level, I'm anxious to see what he does moving forward because I'm betting on him being a success, whatever he chooses to do.
No doubt about it. And, I think that some people, my friends, maybe would classify me and describe me as maybe a cold, callous person. But I got to tell you, Mike, like watching that video for his retirement and seeing all the things that he went through again, and all of that rehab process, it made me a little bit emotional. And him talking about his wife and going on those walks with his wife and, having the kids in the backyard and they got no idea what's coming. I think it's a really, really amazing, awesome, wonderful story that Alex Smith was able to get back to playing as a starting quarterback and also leading a team to the playoffs. I mean, yes, they were 7-9 with Washington last year, but they still were able to make it to the playoffs in large part because of his performance. So I just think it's an awesome story. And the fact that he got to go out on his terms, not because of the injury, I think that makes it even better. So yeah, happy trails to Alex Smith. I'm also really looking forward to seeing whatever he does next.
I have a very important question for you, Myles, prompted by your most recent remarks. Are you ready for it?
Uh-oh.
Were you a cold, callous person before or after you joined us at PFT?
No. Oh, much before. It's probably why you wanted me to join PFT, if we're being completely honest, Mike.
Yeah, I've always been an Alex Smith fan, and it seems like he's always fought through some degree of adversity. And the injury and the way that he handled himself after that made me respect him even more. And I'm kind of glad he's not going to play again. I've said this before. When I watch him play, I was telling Rich Eisen this earlier today on his show. I felt like I was watching my son play high school football, where every play, every snap, every contact, you're holding your breath. Is he going to be okay? Don't suffer a serious injury. Is he okay? Is he okay? Okay, on to the next play. That's how I felt watching Alex Smith last year. And I think that stress probably complicated the extent to which teams wanted to put him on a football field. Remember, he said that Washington didn't want him playing last year. It's not because they didn't like him. It's because they probably didn't want to deal with that concern. Is he truly okay? Is he suited to play after everything he's been through? And he proved to all of us that he is. And he ended up being the best quarterback that the team had last year. They ended up in the playoffs. Yes, his run ended early because of a calf problem, but I really thought it was impressive. And he's since said that he considered signing with the Jaguars. Urban Meyer wanted him in Jacksonville. And I think it's a combination of other things you want to do, chances of actually playing, what they're compensating you to continue your career, because veteran backup quarterback, it's not a gigantic paycheck. And when you've made almost $190 million in the NFL, you really don't need to chase the paycheck. It's okay if you do. Joe Flacco is in that I'll take whatever I can get to be on an NFL team phase, and that's his prerogative. But for Alex Smith, apparently his priority is, unless I'm going to play, I just don't want to do it. And I think that's what it came down to. No one's going to give him the keys to the car. He's going to just be an injury replacement or a none-of-the-above option. He doesn't want to do that. He's moving on. Like you said, he's leaving on his own terms, and not many guys get to do that.
Exactly. And that's one of the great things that I obviously think is about it. But I mean, when you're talking about him maybe joining the Jaguars, and I think we talked about this on the show, Mike, look, he could have maybe been a darn good mentor to somebody like Trevor Lawrence. And we've already seen him kind of take on that role with somebody like Patrick Mahomes before. And Mahomes spoke glowingly about Alex Smith even today. So I just think that it's great to see that he is able to leave on his own terms. And, you know, the fact that he was generating some interest makes sense. But I think he just wasn't going to be a starting quarterback at this point in his career. And if you're not going to be a starting quarterback at this point in your career, then yeah, like why do I really want to go and put my body and my mind and all the stress, everything, make myself and my family go through all that? You know, I think that one of those things you were bringing up about how you were holding your breath every time Alex Smith went out there. Ron Rivera even talked about that a little bit, how he was thinking about, you know, I'm going to be the coach that put Alex Smith back on the field. If something really bad happens to him, in some ways that's going to fall back on me. And so I think that, you know, when you're talking about a coach putting him out there, him going out there, his family thinking about him going out there, it probably lets everybody exhale a little bit when they see that retirement video and they just know, you know what? He's leaving on his own terms. It's done.
He made it through that revolving door of coaches and offensive coordinators in San Francisco to lead the team to the NFC Championship game in 2011. The division round win over the Saints, an awesome, epic game. It was one of those moments, and they don't happen very frequently, where you are consciously aware that you are experiencing a great game. And I remember that. There he goes with that run. I remember saying during that game to myself as I'm watching it alone, I remember exactly where I was. And I'm thinking, not that I was alone not by like nobody wanted to be around me. I just remember exactly where I was, thinking this is an awesome game. This is a historic game. All right. But my point is, this guy was awesome in that game. The 49ers and Alex Smith worked. And it was the concussion in 2012 that opened the door for Colin Kaepernick. And even up until that point, Alex Smith was great. And then he goes to Kansas City. And the game against the Colts, where they were up huge in the second half, he had an awesome game, 30 for 46, 378 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in that game that the Colts came back and won 45-44. So he had his moments, and it never, like I said, never got to the top of the mountain, but was in the vicinity enough that we should appreciate what he did. And to survive as much as he did, from teams to coaches to coordinators to offense to this to that, that is as impressive as anything in its own way as any quarterback has done in the past generation.
Well, look, you play 16 seasons and you start as many games as Alex Smith did. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're drafted or anything. That is an impressive career. And I think that most players, most quarterbacks even, don't get to where Alex Smith got in his career. And, you know, yes, he didn't get to the top of the mountain. He didn't win a Super Bowl. But at the same time, he was a part of a lot of playoff teams. You know, if you had Alex Smith, you at least knew you had a chance to win. And there's so many quarterbacks who were either drafted that high or drafted lower and become starters that don't always give you that chance to win every single week. And I think that competitive nature and everything that he was able to do, combined with the fact that he then came back after that devastating leg injury, I think we do need to definitely give Alex Smith his props.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.